Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. Prime Minister Modi delivered a sharp rebuke to Pakistan and also hit back at the United States during his independence speech from the ramparts of the Red Fort. The Prime Minister affirmed that the nation will not succumb to nuclear blackmail, a statement which comes on the heels of empty threats made over the past week by Pakistani leaders such as Pakistani Army Chief Munir and Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif. The Prime Minister also affirmed India's goal to become self-reliant, emphasizing the principle of Aatmanirbhar Bharat. Prime Minister Modi also affirmed that India would neither stop nor bow down, a statement that alludes to US President Donald Trump's latest tariff bullying. Let's in fact listen in to what he said.
न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल लंबे अरसे से चलाया, अब वो ब्लैकमेल नहीं सहा जाएगा। नेक्स्ट जनरेशन रिफॉर्म्स के लिए हमने एक टास्क फोर्स गठित करने का निर्णय किया है। ये टास्क फोर्स समय सीमा में इस काम को पूरा करे, वर्तमान नियम, कानून, नीतियां, रीतियां 21वीं सदी के अनुकूल, वैश्विक वातावरण में अनुकूल और भारत को 2047 में विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने के संदर्भ में नए सिरे से तैयार हो और उसका समय सीमा में अपना कार्य पूरा करने के लिए इस टास्क फोर्स की रचना की है।
All right, let's talk about what the Prime Minister said and what he meant. Joining us on the program to talk more about this is Ambassador Suresh Kumar Goyal, former diplomat. Mr. Surinder Singh Lali, foreign affairs expert, also joins us on the show. Major General G. Dwivedi, global strategic and defense expert. And last but by no means the least, Major General Shashi Asthana, former DG, infantry and defense expert, joins us on the program as well. Ambassador Goyal, the Prime Minister, of course, has not taken light of what Munir said in the United States. He's also kept in mind that this nuclear blackmail that, the Pakistani general has emanated from the American soil deserves a response, and that's exactly what the Prime Minister has done. And this is also a befitting reply in more ways than one to the American government, which is, of course, pressurizing us through tariff tactics and also giving more credence to Pakistan because they know that will spite us in some way or the other.
Vinit, thank you very much and good afternoon to you and good afternoon to all my co-panelists. Just two things. I don't think that the Prime Minister, of course, gave a very befitting reply to what Munir has said. That is fine, and there is nothing that I will say about it. There are only two things that I want to really point out in that direction. Number one, you have a Pakistani general making such a statement from the American soil. America, a country which has strategic relations with India, which beyond the strategic relations is part of several unilateral organizations supposed to be dealing with the situation in Indo-Pacific as well as all over the world, global situation. We have been partners. America, a country which found Osama bin Laden hiding in that country and which knows the kind of perfidy that Pakistan has been to. A country which knows that the possession of the nuclear weapons in Pakistan and there is a threat or there is a potential of terrorists laying their hands on those nuclear weapons. It is in the media. It's not that I'm saying it. If that country, leave apart President Trump, not even the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Defense or anyone at all says anything at all, has no reaction at all to a general issuing such a threat to a friendly country from the American soil, I find that very, very surprising. And therefore, I think we need to be very clear about what the USA policy is all about, at least under Trump. Whether this kind of I will not call it aggro, but this kind of policy towards India suddenly, the turnabout that we so see in US policy, is it temporary? What is the reason for it? Is it just tariff? Because if it is Russia, then why not China? China buys more oil from us. And if it is energy, and if it is Russia-Ukraine war, who is supplying all that weapon to Ukraine? And why not talk to you? Why not do something about Russia directly? Therefore, I think we have issued Prime Minister Modi has used the tough language, all very good. But my point is that Pakistan needs to be watched very carefully by us, and we need to watch the USA reactions or the USA policy on Pakistan very carefully. I'm not quite certain anymore that given the kind of a state of relations now, the USA is going to stand with India in case Pakistan does adopt or Pakistan does have the courage to do the same thing that it did again to India a few months ago. China, on the other hand, I'm quite certain that China would not allow this kind of a behavior from its own soil, even if we have had those kind of disputes with China, military disputes as well as political disputes. But at least there should be some sense, there should be some political principle. I'm afraid the USA has gone beyond all that. Really, at least Trump has, and we need to be careful about all this. We need.
Fair enough. And General Dwivedi, here is a self-declared field marshal who's gone on American soil and said to the world that, if any threat comes towards us, hum marenge to marenge khud bhi, and we'll take half the world with us. And the Americans are okay with that. How irresponsible, of course, first of all, the statements which have been made by Asim Munir, and second, no palpable response from the Americans when it comes to this. What if something like this was said by Iran?
Well, Munir, first and foremost, my heartiest felicitations to Team NewsX and all the viewers on the auspicious occasion of 79 Independence Day.
To you too, sir. To you too.
We are very glad that we are sharing the platform with you. But now you are asked very specific questions, and I can give you very specific answers because I follow Pakistan and China very closely. First and foremost, Munir, the Pakistan generals are known to be talking, out of the hat, and they're also known to make statements, and at times they also implement or act upon those statements because there's a common saying that Pakistani generals think first and they might act first and think later. So Asim Munir comes from same stable, and we couldn't have expected much different from him. The point is that why this kind of relationship between Asim Munir and Trump and current dispensation, we need to see it from I think multiple perspectives. Firstly, I am of the firm opinion that India's relationship with America are far deeper than this Trump phenomenon, because this will blow away in next 2-3 years. But the India-American relationships are deep-rooted, and the kind of agreement we have signed as a defense person, I can say that we have signed 5 very, very important agreements on security with America, and that is almost the status which is to the non-NATO nation. The second point is we are also very important player in Quad, and that actually doesn't gives us a very special place in the American policy. Now, coming to specifically what is going on between Trump and Asim Munir, there are 2-3 things. First and foremost, this is a very transactional phase, and Trump believes in transactional diplomacy, give and take. There are certain family relationships, there are commercial interests, there are certain bitcoins, and all that is there. I think that is one part of it, that what Asim Munir and possibly as Pakistan, they are placating Trump. The second very important issue is that Pakistan has been declared as a phenomenal friend to fight counter-terrorism, and that was by the Central Theater Commander of America, Kuril. And this development we need to see in I would say, immediate perspective, but in next 2-3 years, how this is going to pan out, because things will come on place only after Trump goes out. So I like to make 2-3 important points. First and foremost, we need to act very mature and not go along what Trump is saying or what Munir is saying. Second, take very considered cognizance of the American relationship with Pakistan, and also what Pakistan General Munir or Field Marshal Munir is saying, because he has been propped up now the front face of Pakistan. He is dealing with the foreign policy, he is dealing with the economic policy. So this person today is all powerful, and you can equate him with the predecessors like Zia and Musharraf. And my third point is that India has to have a policy and counterbalancing, which we are doing, because after we also have cards to play. Like we have imported about $25 billion of defense equipment over last about 13, 14 years from America. So we can always realign our, acquisition from our alternate countries. And secondly, there in diplomacy, as the diplomats are on the panel, there's always a hedging, which we are doing, and I'm sure some message will go to America. But my last point is that national policies are not day by day or ball by ball. We need to take a very considered look and tide over this, tsunami or the storm which Trump has created, and only well thought through policies, and also track to we have a fair amount of leverage. We have 4 million in Indian origin people in America who have a fair amount of influence. I think we need to put all this together and tide over the issue. But point is, we need to have a well thought through foreign policy, and only then we can confront the current strain, or I would say dip in the Indo-American relations.
Mr. Lali, where are you placed on this? The Americans obviously, seemingly, Donald Trump is upset that India somehow, mitigated the essence of his negotiating skills when it came to the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, and that seemingly upset the big man, and here you are with 50% tariffs. Should India also endorse a Nobel Peace Prize for Donald Trump? Is that the way to bring down these tariffs? And look what diplomacy and bilateral relationship has come down to.
Thank you, Vineet. Vineet, as a proud Indian, I first wish a very happy Independence Day to you, your team at NewsX, a very distinguished panel that I'm in, and to all Indians across the world watching this program, and especially, Vineet, the brave hearts, the men and women in uniform, and a very special tribute to the ones who've made the supreme sacrifice, so that we can live with dignity, freedom, and have such debates where we can speak our heart out. Vineet, getting back to, your question was Donald Trump. I have 4 words to define Donald Trump. And since I've lived and worked in New York for a long time, and he's a very quintessential New Yorker. So he's not a politician. We all know that. 7 bankruptcies and 2 convictions. But we need 4 words that I often use to now describe him, at the risk of maybe now getting deported from the United States airport. Number 1, mercurial. I mean, look at the way he's doing this dilly-dally with China, because he knows that China is almost indispensable to the United States. We need number 2 is mercantilist. We used to often say about Pakistan that Pakistan is the country doesn't have an army, but the army is a country. But now I can say that United States doesn't have a president, but the president of the United States has America, because he is purely dealing with the U.S. and demolishing every bit of what America stood for, as long as his business interest is served. I mean, when unfortunately Pahalgam happened, at the same time, the Pakistanis invested and did a crypto deal with this company called the World Liberty Financial. So end of the day, Donald Trump's finances and his worth has doubled. And he looks at everything through the prism of, a transaction, as General Dwivedi rightly said. And we need the other 2 words that are megalomaniac and a monarch, because he, I don't know if we should have, your question was, you should have pampered his ego and kind of given him credit, indirectly or indirectly, but that I leave that for, Ambassador Goyal to answer, because that's way beyond my pay grade. But we need the problem with Pakistan is, since we're talking about General Munir, and that happens to be the subject, and I've been there 5 times, Pakistan. We need Pakistan is not in a financial or a political crisis, they're in an identity crisis. And every time Pakistan realizes that their people, the 25 crore people who they've taken for a very royal ride, they try and bring this Hindu, Muslim, and the two-nation theory and will nuke, India and the dams that they make, and the world will go down. We need Pakistan as this new, Mughalism dream. Pakistan is determined to retire history to claim that their ancestors are Mughals and nothing to do with Sanatan. And then they use this narrative to justify expansionism through terrorism and an ideological jihad. And whatever Munir has been doing on his second trip to the United States is nothing but an extension to actually take the Americans for a royal ride. They fleeced America for $33 billion, and Osama bin Laden was found just maybe 90 miles away. And now with China, with over $55 to $60 billion invested, I mean, I might want to give it to Pakistan to be the biggest 420 nation in the world, because they really know how to fleece countries, and that is maybe because of purely of their geographical location, and they just happen to be at the right place at the right time, but very wrong principles. And Pakistan wants to create a falsehood of Islamic victimhood by the Hindus. So it's very unfortunate that Donald Trump has, for his reasons, fallen into the game plan that the Pakistanis had for America, until the Cold War, and then what they're doing with China. And now I think they're going to fleece both of them. But unfortunately, the problem is for us and for our diplomacy to manage the mercurial Donald Trump, because we don't know which way he's going to go, Vineet.
Exactly right. And General Asthana, we also don't know which side of the bed he's going to wake up tomorrow and decide something completely different when it comes to his friendship, or rather the lack of it, with India. But if he is so transactional, General Asthana, if he wants to make America great again, if he does want us to stop buying oil from Russia and defense equipment, then perhaps the Americans should start selling us this at cheaper price.
Firstly, happy Independence Day to you and your viewers. As far as America is concerned, they are going through a phase wherein the personal, shall I say, ego of President Trump has taken over a fair amount of decisions. And therefore, there is a need for, I think, we behaving in a strategic manner against his tactical moves. Why I call it as tactical moves is, as was mentioned, he is not going to be there for a very long time, number one. Number two, nations are permanent. The leaders can come and go, and same is the case with Trump. Thirdly, given the kind of activities which he has done, apparently shall I say, the impact on India for succumbing to him is much more strategic and much more long-term than standing up to him. So therefore, standing up to him is an option, and appropriate message has been given from the Red Fort to that extent. Coming on to the other questions which you posed throughout the talk, I must say that as Pakistan has been given appropriate response by Prime Minister Modi and by everybody else, I don't need to, they don't deserve more attention than that. As of now, America is using Pakistan, and Pakistan may not be realizing it, but they do not have that kind of credentials that they can threaten India and make India respond in any other manner. So as far as their threats are concerned, they will be responded as and when they do materialize, if they have to materialize in some manner or the other. We do expect some odd, awkward, shall I say, terrorist action, maybe left, right, and center, to just test the resolve in some manner. But that, I think, is well within our control. As far as America is concerned, Americans, President Trump, the tariff war is not going to last beyond 6 months. That's my estimate, for the simple reason, because within 6 months, the inflation in America will start hurting the American people. His analogy of reading Indian mind is, I think, has gone slightly awry in a manner that Indians have decided that they can boycott America in some manner, uh, and also create a self-reliant India, for which enough measures were suggested in today's speech. And I think the tone of the speech today has given an indication to rest of the world that we have started looking at the alternatives. We have started looking how to manage self-reliance. We have also started looking to manage how to go in for diversification of our needs, and also how to improve our product line in a manner that we don't get succumbed by influx of the imports from any other country, and have to be competitive. I think all these points were flagged by Prime Minister Modi today very appropriately. So, in strategic terms, India is preparing, has started preparing for a worst case scenario, and that is what perhaps he did not calculate. Number one. Number two, his idea of, say, using a Russian card to say that because I am putting tariff on India, maybe that Russia is giving me some concessions or they are coming on the table, etc. I don't think that has worked in a manner, because India has given no indication of either putting any pressure on Russia or trying to reduce trade with India. On the contrary, India has given indications that we are going to engage with Russia even more than what we were doing earlier. So that has not worked, and I am sure the voices in America, some sane voices in America, are coming up to indicate that as well. So President Trump's rhetoric is going to somehow come under control within 6 months, because after that he has to stand for elections, and he is running into the risk of losing Senate, and then he will become a lame duck president. Now, after 6 months, he has to see sense. There is no way, and that is what perhaps others are also. His staff is also keeping quiet, that it's a matter of another 2-3 months, and that is why. What others are also saying, because if you see his strategic aim, the strategic aim is very clear. He wants to break BRICS. In that BRICS, he knows that he can't handle China, India, and Brazil and others together. So what he has done is he has pitched on India and Brazil now, hoping that if they fall in line, then he will get emboldened and he may then take on China. But that is not happening. So neither Brazil has given up nor India has given up. So I think that is the kind of strategic gaming which is happening. All this is part of strategic gaming. We have to hold our horses. We have to think strategically, and I think we'll be able to manage this crisis beneath.
Ambassador Goel, tactics, or is this something which is going to wither away? It's only a matter of dialogue. Vladimir Putin is also going to be meeting Donald Trump, and there is a strong opinion that this diktat against India to not buy Russian oil has also been a motivator for Vladimir Putin to get into this huddle.
Vineet, I think it has been underlined time and again that this argument of Russian oil to put pressure on India is total bunkum. It's an argument which doesn't hold any water at all. I mentioned China because if that had been the case, China would have been the first one to be really put under kind of sanctions or high tariff duty. Russian oil is just an excuse being used by Donald Trump to put pressure on India. And again, I will repeat, the reason for pressure on India lies somewhere else. It doesn't lie on the Russian oil. It otherwise could have been very, very different. And therefore, what we need to think of is instead of the Americans thinking or Donald Trump thinking that they hold predominance over India and therefore they can influence the Indian foreign policy or the Indian interest with the way they want, we should give sufficient indication that we have other leverages. We have other options in our foreign policy matrix, that our foreign policy is not just US centric. There are other players on the geopolitical landscape, and therefore do not think that only because your interest, you think that your interests have been hurt or have been influenced, you can do that to us. Let them be disillusioned. Therefore, again, just one sentence that the reason lies elsewhere, could be anything at all. People mention about not giving the credit to Trump for mediation between India and Pakistan. That's only one part of it, really. I think America wanted to see India under its thumb. Trump wanted to see India under its thumb and do what its own dictates are. We have given sufficient indication that we won't. And we have other alternatives.
Fair enough, sir. All right, we've run out of time. Appreciate everybody who joined and put in their perspective. We're going to dip into a short break now. We'll be right back.